Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another episode on TEW2020 of the AEW Save. If you're joining us now, you should know by now that we are, week by week every Wednesday with some AEW, of course, double episodes, 2 Dynamites per show. That is of course until we go to 2 brands, which inevitably will happen, and then it'll be basically a week in AEW. If AEW is not your fan, so you want to see more stuff, on Mondays and Fridays we'll have the WWE save, which is also live booked on the old twitch.tv/21Maxwell, but we'll have pay-per-views for that. If it does slow down a little bit, I expect it to pick up again once we go to branded pay-per-views, so aka Raw have exclusive pay-per-views, same with SmackDown, and with the amount of signings I'm making, I certainly expect that to happen. We're already booking Raw 3 hours, SmackDown's 2, NXT's up to 3 hours, and of course we've got the 30 minutes of WWE Legends House. It's just a case of I've got so many wrestlers and I like to micromanage. And to end it all off, we've got the WWF save in 1984 into 1985, heading towards WrestleMania 1, and that is every Saturday. So if that's your fancy, check them out. As always, you want to get social, you know what to do, and if you want to buy the game or try the demo, there's a link in the description below to that. The best mods in the community, and places like the Fantasy Booker subreddit where you can view some more written and verbal content. So we're now into 2021. We've had our end of the line pay-per-view, and it's time to move forward with All Elite Wrestling. This is the first show of 2021. Let's see how it goes down. So we're live from the Forterra Stadium in Clarksville, Tennessee. Just over 9,000 fans in attendance. And we start 2021, where we start most shows, with Cody in the ring. And he's just basically saying it was a mixed year 2020. Absolutely fantastic that AEW is up and running and in the position it's in. Obviously a negative, they can no longer challenge for the World Championship. The one extra opportunity he got, he was cost that from MJF. And then of course the whole breakdown of his marriage because of Brandy and Frankie Kazarian. It says, no looking back, it's time to look forward, it's time to make AEW grow bigger, and 2021 to be his year. So the promo itself was an 80, the performance and improvisation was very good. We then lead into our opening contest for the TNT Championship. It was this matchup that saw Claudio Castagnoli defeat Kip Sabian in 9:42 with a neutralizer. First defence of the belt, a 61's okay. 64 for Castagnoli, 49 for Sabian, and Castagnoli's getting better at his gimmick, but it's really a case here of just mini matches on television, get the championship belt over, and give people like Kip Sabian opportunities. Remember, of course, we have a loosely forced heel-face divide, so baby faces can contend for the championship as well down the line. Next up, we had Shawn Spears come out and issue an open challenge, and that gives us a debut. Welcome to All Elite Wrestling, Tyler Bate, as he says he will face Shawn Spears tonight. That was a 41. Tyler Bate's got an old school face gimmick, and it was an initial rating of very good. Match itself was a 59, and it was a decent matchup that saw Tyler Bate defeat Shawn Spears in 10-10 with the Tyler Driver 97. At 59, you've obviously got to give him a good victory as he starts. And yeah, hopefully we can grow Tyler Bate. It'd be good to get someone in, somebody that's young, so we can kind of grow them with the company. And I'm sure he'll do big things in Elite Wrestling. Especially when Pat comes out and just says, is this another young British pretender that thinks they're the best British wrestler in the world? Well, not in my watch, you're nowhere near my level. So he just completely downplays Tyler Bate and says, once you're good enough, kid, I'll maybe consider giving you a matchup with the greatest British wrestler of all time. So 85 promo, very strong from Pac, and that could lead to something down the line between those two. Wait and see. Next up we had some 8-man tag action, and it was a good matchup. The team of Private Party and the Young Bucks defeated the Inner Circle, in this case Ortiz, Santana, Cash Wheeler and Jake Hager, in 12-13 when Matt Jackson pinned Cash Wheeler with a moonsault. A 76, so pretty good there. A lot of decent performances. The Young Bucks are always going to bring it. Good stuff as well from Ortiz and Santana. and the likes of the Private Party, Hagen and Wheeler, they're still giving us mid-60 performances, so that's still pretty good, and overall brings us a 76 performance. Still a show matchup, but just again, leaving off this kind of thing that Private Parties had with members of the Inner Circle, and of course the Young Bucks just wanting to have a good match. Next up, promo from Peter Avalon. He just says it was absolutely disgusting, the fact that Ishii just came out and destroyed him, but he's still standing, and he says that Ishii should be punished for what he done at End of the Line. So 31, Leva Bates helping Peter Avalon during his promo segment. Next up, we had a short matchup that saw Orange Cassidy defeat the Dark Order's Alex Reynolds in 4:27 with a super kick. A 44, simple effective matchup. Orange coming off a good victory at the pay-per-view, and the Dark Order again just cannot get the better of Orange Cassidy. But after the match, Darby Allin pissed off from what happened at End of the Line, and he just beats the absolute living daylights out of Orange Cassidy. So a fully heel Darby Allin, part of the Dark Order, is just showing what a threat he is. That's a 72 for that segment. Next up, MGF with an 82 promo. Basically sat at home and he says, Moxley, when I'm back from injury, I'm going to come back and I'm going to win that AEW World title. It was an absolute conspiracy that he was injured in the first place by an unsafe worker, and he says he'll be back to wreak vengeance on AEW. Then had Leva Bates take on Chris Statlander, and about that didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling. Chris Statlander picks up the win in 8:10. Just a fairly rated matchup. It was people the crowd weren't too invested in, but we need to build them up, and I felt like this was the kind of thing we'll start doing on Dynamite. It's just every so often a couple of the ladies that maybe aren't the most over in the world, get them on in Dynamite and just give them some spotlight to try and improve their overness. But Statlander picks up the win in a very poor matchup. Next up, we had the AEW tag titles on the line, and it was a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling. And we had the Titans defeat the Best Friends in 13:56 when Brian Cage defeated Chuck Taylor with a machine termination. This was following interference from Ricky Starks. This gave the Titans the first defence of the Tag Team Championship. So a 67, nearly won after that fatal four-way matchup, including the former champs, the Lucha Bros. The Best Friends get an opportunity, but again, Ricky Starks is the difference maker. And after the matchup, they basically just confirm it is now no longer a trio with Camille. It is now a four-way faction. So it is Camille, Brian Cage, Jacob Fatu, Ricky Starks all together, and that's a 56 rated segment. Moxley then has a promo. He's facing Wardlow in the main event one-on-one. They said Wardlow gave it good on Saturday at End of the Line, but it wasn't good enough. We'll see how he does in a one-on-one match, but Moxley anticipates it's going to be the same conclusion, a Jon Moxley victory. The matchup was actually really good. Great heat and good wrestling as Moxley carries Wardlow to a 78 rated match as he wins in 14:22 with the Death Rider. It's just basically kind of getting Wardlow and MJF away from that just now, at least because obviously MJF's going to win the show for another 2 months. So Moxley picks up the win. Wardlow gets another good showing in the main event, and we finish it up with Hangman Page coming down and beating the hell out of Jon Moxley and then staring at the AEW World Championship belt. 81 segment. He's finished his feud with Kenny Omega after being victorious in Hangman Rules, and overall the show got 77, which increased their popularity in 22 regions. A bit frustrating. It's going to take until 2022 till we can get back on UK television, but we'll focus primarily on the States and we'll focus on Mexico and Canada, as those will be the ones that can help us grow the most. The way the UK is in, we can afford to be off television a little bit because we'd be expanding that. At the same time, we'd be expanding the likes of India, Oceania, Europe, etc. So not too much pressure there. 9,000 fans in attendance. Ring of Honor had 8,000 fans. And NXT had 5,817 as Io Shirai won the NXT Women's Championship. This should be, let's have a look. Io Shirai, she defeated Chelsea and Rhea. So Rhea must have been still champion even at this point. So yeah, this is worrying. We're in a bidding war for Pac, so we'll just show you the kind of contract we're firing at him. He's seriously considering more than one offer, so we went full in 5 years, 100 grand a month. WWE are offering him a bonus, they're offering him 20% per show. I like to think our contract's better than that, so look. So 100,000 to 90, exclusive written, ironclad, yep. Signing bonus, they're offering 22, we're offering 60. No downside. Events and TV shows, yep, 20%, 40%. Everything's the exact same. The only thing, as I say, that we've put is be whatever is needed. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to put it up to 105,000. My reason is maybe just the size of WWE could lure them away. But hopefully, as I say, we can get Pac as a staple of AEW going forward. It's going to cost us a lot, but we say we do have the profit, and we kind of need to start spending that money to make money. So that as well. And the viewing figure was a 2.59. So that's part one. Let's fast forward to next week for the next episode of AEW Dynamite. So now on to the following week's AEW Dynamite, and we start off our show from Santa Clara, California, in front of just under 9,500 fans, with Hangman basically firing some warning shots at Jon Moxley. He says the first time around he knows he wasn't ready for the AEW World Championship, but he believes he's developed as a person and as a man, and as he says, getting rid of Kenny Omega from kind of leeching off him, and now he's in control of his own destiny, means that he's going to go forward and take that championship from Jon Moxley and be the man who takes AEW into a new era. So 71 promo for Hangman's promo on Jon Moxley. We start off with our TNT Championship match, and then about that had good heat and decent wrestling. Claudio Castagnoli defeated Frankie Kazarian in 13:36 with a neutralizer. The second defence of the belt for Castagnoli. Good to see both guys had pretty good chemistry together, and it gave the match a 67 rating. So yeah, let's hope over time we can continue to add some prestige to the TNT Championship. Next up, we basically had post-match a beatdown of Frankie Kazarian by his old friend Scorpio Sky. Obviously we all know the heel turn from Kazarian. We've already saw Daniels retire, Kazarian steal Cody Rhodes' wife, and then Scorpio Sky effectively just getting completely pissed off with that. A 58 is to go to something more long-term booking, but the beatdown by Sky before Kazarian runs to the back. So Sky's getting a bit stale with his gimmick. We'll maybe seek to change that. But overall, a 58. Next up, Peter Avalon, just again, words on Ishii. He says, right, enough is enough, Ishii. Bring it on. You will not get the better of me once again. And that was a 30 rated segment. And the match itself was extremely short, as you would imagine, as Ishii defeats Peter Avalon in 4:19 with a vertical drop brainbuster. So a 54 rated matchup. Lack of psychology involved. I think that's the first time that's popped up between those two. And the crowd were vocal towards Peter Avalon, but just a little comedy kind of matchup where Peter gets his ass handed to him basically by Ishii. Next up, we had a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as Private Party defeat Cash Wheeler and Jake Hager in 9:19 when Isaiah Cassidy pinned Cash Wheeler. 69. In terms of performance, I'd say all four guys are pretty similar, but it basically leads to post-match where Chris Jericho says, right, he's had enough of Private Party, and the form they've been in his side and in the Inner Circle side basically wants to make it a AEW Extreme Warfare, a wee nod to the old TW games which were EWR, that we will have Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, less ex-gods, take on Private Party and end them once and for all. So a 74 rated promo there. We now had an extremely short match, Orange Cassidy winning in 3:38 with a super kick, 60 rated, just taking momentum out of someone and putting it on to Orange Cassidy. We then had some 6 women action to continue to give the division a lot of promotion, and it was about that had a lot of heat and terrible wrestling. The team of Deonna Purrazzo Chris Statlander and the re-debuting Kylie Ray, who we've brought in, defeated Brandy Rhodes, Leva Bates and Nyla Rose in 8-12 when Chris Statlander submitted Leva Bates. So 43 rated match is okay. The crowd weren't particularly thrilled with Deonna Purrazzo. Interestingly enough, the Brandy Rhodes got a lot of static from the crowd, so obviously the attributes required for this product, she has none of them. However, she does have a lot of overness, which we can use, and at the same time, given what's went down between her and Cody, you'd expect her to get that reaction, so we'll pretend that's what that's for. But overall, a 43 rated match with the babyface women going over. We went over a promo from Cody, and it's a little bit different here. It's a very strong 86 rated promo, but it's just him confirming in between women's segments that we have another very, very good acquisition to the women's division of AEW, and she will make a massive statement in the upcoming weeks once she arrives. So a big, big signing promised. It could change the course of AEW's women's division. Next up, we had a match that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. As Awesome Kong defeated Tenille Dashwood in 8-20 when Implant Buster. A 49 rated matchup. Crowd not particularly thrilled with Tenille, but just proving Kong's dominance and showing as well that, well, she never got the job done against Nikki Storm. They will do battle at Extreme Warfare one more time. The rematch is on, 47 rated, and that match is confirmed in as well. We then have a hype package for the Motor City Machine Guns. They're in action next. That was also a 47. And their match up against the Hybrid 2. So Alex Shelley defeat Jack Evans with an underarm snap STO in just over 9 minutes. 62 is pretty good here. Two good tag teams. And Helico just needs to improve a little bit in ring. And that's for Jack Evans off his game. But a good victory. I feel sorry for the Hybrid 2. They've been in a position where they're kind of very talented, but putting people over. And they put the Guns over, who haven't really had much luck since signing with AEW in this save. Next up, we had some 6-man tag action with a 74 rated matchup, so that's pretty good. And it was about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as the Titans and Ricky Starks defeated Brandon Cutler and the Young Bucks when Ricky Starks pinned Brandon Cutler with the Buster Keaton. So my thinking here was, there's been the heat between the Bucks and the Titans. The Titans are obviously aligned with Ricky Starks, and obviously the Bucks are really good friends with Brandon Cutler. So it just made sense that it gives Starks a platform to help get him over, and Cutler someone that can easily take the fall here. So a good matchup. 74 is very good. Machine Brian Cage off his game, and just hopefully long term can certainly help the elevation of Ricky Starks. We then have a beatdown, which unfortunately I think I must have put for 5 minutes. So let's double check that. No, 4 minutes, so they just certainly don't have the star power. That's fair enough. I was hoping the Young Bucks would carry that. But if you want to get somebody over, you've got to put them up against big guys. You've got to give them these opportunities. And yeah, as I say, we have to sacrifice a few segments with the Young Bucks to ensure that the Butcher and Blade can get over. But they beat the Bucks down after the match-up anyway. And yeah, we'll try and push the Butcher and the Blade and see if we can get similar results to what's happened in real life, where they've had some... yeah, they've just grown a lot of people. Main event, we had great heat and good wrestling. Hangman defeats Dustin Rhodes in 9:47 with a turn of the page. A 73. Actually have good chemistry together, pretty good chemistry. You're always going to flop in terms of your main event matches if you don't have Pac, if you don't have Moxley in them. But the reality is, you need to grow new stars, so we are going to have a few instances where we will lose pop just in growing new stars. But it's going to make us stronger in the long term. And we finished the show, Moxley saying, nice attack last week, Hangman. But I'll get my revenge. And don't you worry, if you want a title shot, you can get your title shot, because it means then I've got an opportunity to give you an absolute ass whooping. So 86 of the promo, I think we'll flop here with the show, because the matches weren't great. The promos carried, but the matches were not fantastic. A 76, so we increase our pop in 21 regions, which will mostly be out with the US, But again, it's another one where if we were still in the UK, we would have certainly lost some pop, and we would have certainly had the ITV4 executives on us. But we'll take a wee look and see if there's anything else to report. Crazy Steve signs a new contract with Impact. Jake Atlas has an injury, and Raul Mendoza has won the NXT North American Championship. Matt Jackson signs a brand new contract. Will last 4 years, so that's him pretty much secured. I think it's to 39, so he's fine. We do have Xavier Woods already on our books, but he's not under the written deal. We should get that exclusive written deal, that done. So as soon as that is sorted, we'll be delighted to get him, and we're also looking to extend the deals of Awesome Kong and Hangman Page. And in television, we get a 2.61. That aside, if we just quickly jump into medical, we can see here a few injuries going forward, but we have B. Priestley back in 23 days. We tried surgery on Shima, but that's put him out for a year and 3 months. Dr. Britt Baker's on maternity leave for another 7 months. But most importantly, Miro will be able to compete in a week. And in 26 days, thanks to surgery, MGF will be back in action. So that's us for this double episode. Thank you very much for watching. We'll hopefully see you for next week's double episode of 2 Dynamites before we head to Extreme Warfare. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.